It's 2025, and the beginning of the year always gives us an opportunity to reflect on what worked and what didn't work last year and goals to improve our lives this year. This could be our personal lives, our health, our work lives, how we're going to be better at our jobs or even our hobbies, and of course, our podcast. So, today I'm going to share with you 5 goals you should have for your podcast in 2025, and of course, how RSS.com can help you. Let's dive into it. All right, so you can see the 5 goals here on the screen right now. Leverage analytics, get on YouTube, transcripts are a must, make more money, and engage more. We're going to dive into each one of these, and let's start with leveraging analytics because honestly, leveraging analytics is not just about reviewing your stats and sweating downloads. It's about really understanding your audience. And good analytics are a key to that. You can see where people are listening from, what devices people are listening from, or with good analytics, even when people choose to listen. You can compare old episodes to new episodes and see the type of content that really works. And this is someplace where RSS.com excels. So if we look at the analytics here, we can see not only our download numbers over the last period of time, in this case 180 days, we could see apps, directories, and browsers. So Chrome is very popular for us. Samsung Podcast is also very popular for us, which will come in handy with our next goal for the year. But we can also see top 5 cities, downloads by locations, and my personal favorite, a heat map of the download times. So here I can see that 7 p.m. on Mondays is a very popular download time for this show, as well as 7 a.m. on Tuesdays. With this information, we can make some inferences about our audience and their habits. It sounds like, depending on where they are in the world, they might be listening to this show to wind down or maybe on their morning commute. And if we allow ourselves to dive into this information, understand our listeners a little bit more, then we can assimilate a little bit to their habits and make it easier for them to listen and potentially recommend the show to more people. If we understand where most of our audience is coming from, and RSS.com is one of the few places that has city level data for this, then we can uh, mold our content a little bit to talk to people in those localities more, especially if we see that a lot of our audience is coming from, let's say, outside the United States. Maybe we want to have less United States centric content for them. So that's our first goal, leveraging analytics to better understand our audience. We also want to make sure that we are everywhere. Now, you saw in our stats that 21% of our audience uses the Samsung Podcast app. The Samsung Podcast app is going away or may already be gone by the time this video comes out. Google Podcasts went away last year, and while Apple Podcasts is now available on Android, the assumed successor of both Samsung Podcasts and Google Podcasts is YouTube. So you want to make sure that your show is on YouTube because it's about reach and convenience for your listeners. Yes, listener habits are changing and more people are consuming videos for content that says they are podcasts, but it's also about making sure your show is in the right place. And even if you don't have a video component, you want to make sure your show is there. Now, YouTube does have RSS ingestion where you give it your RSS feed and it will create a video with a static image and just the audio, not even like an animated WAV file. It's just a very static video. So if people want to subscribe to your podcast on YouTube, they can. But there are a lot better tools out there to get your podcast onto YouTube, and our Podviz technology at rss.com is one of them. This is such a great tool, and it's free for any of the accounts that you can get with rss.com. You click the create video and publish on YouTube button for an episode, and it will go ahead and automatically create that episode and send it over to YouTube. But here's the best part: it's not just a static image of your podcast artwork with the audio, it's much more engaging. There is an animated wave file with the audio. This artwork will change if you have custom chapter or episode artwork. And speaking of chapters, we also send the chapters over. That's not something that will happen if you just use YouTube's standard RSS ingestion, unless you happen to manually copy and paste the chapters into the description of the episode. So if you're looking for a more engaging video to send over to YouTube, rss.com's Podviz technology is the best. And again, that is free with any rss.com account. So it's a great way for you to tick the box of getting your podcast on YouTube without just having like a really boring, unengaging video to accompany the audio. So that is analytics in YouTube. Transcripts are a must. And I've been saying this for years, and there's a lot of reasons for it, right? I mean, the biggest one I would say is accessibility. You want your content to be available to as many people as possible. And for people who are deaf or have a hearing impairment or just may not be able to listen to your show at that time, the transcript gives them an opportunity to consume that content without the need to listen to it. But with the advent of AI tools, your transcript has become so much more of an asset. Not only can you make it available for people who want to read your show instead of listen to your show, but you can feed that transcript to something like ChatGPT or Claude and summarize it, get a more full description, get the top takeaways and put them on LinkedIn or X or whatever social media platform you choose to use. You can have it create a first draft of a blog post about that podcast episode. So now you're creating multiple pieces of content. And while the cost of transcripts has come down thanks to these AI tools, they're not always free. And so there is an added cost, which could be tough. But again, luckily, rss.com has you covered. So if you host your show with rss.com and you have a paid account, you can get transcripts automatically generated for free. Once your show is published, click the add transcript button here and your time-stamped transcript will be added. But that's not all. If you go to the website that comes with your rss.com feed or your rss.com hosted podcast, the transcripts play another integral role in your show. So if you're listening to a show hosted with rss.com and they say something and you want to hear that again, you can use the transcript to jump exactly to the point you want, and it'll do it here on the website. Plus, any apps that support transcripts will include this information as well. So, rss.com making it as easy as possible for you to create more engaging content with your podcast, create a starting point for a ton of new content or repurposed content, and of course, perhaps most importantly, making your show more accessible to as many people as possible. And that leads into our fourth goal of the year, which is make more money. This is a goal for a lot of podcasters. Podcasting can be expensive. You have to get the gear, you have hosting, which again, very affordable with rss.com, but you also probably need to hire an editor and get a bunch of other tools to help with your podcast. And you want to offset those costs. There are way more ways to make money than just sponsorship or having a massive membership, which is essentially another line of business. Instead, you could have your show be user or listener supported and ask for donations. And this is a really great feature of rss.com. Perhaps you noticed that when we were looking at the website, there was this donate button. This is something that you can add right from your RSS.com dashboard. So if you go to monetization, there are a number of ways to monetize your show, but the one with the lowest barrier of entry is the donations and funding. You can put any link in here. I have a personal donation link where people can go to my website and buy me a coffee, but you can also put PayPal, Patreon, GoFundMe, or any other app that you use to get donations. We will put that front and center on the podcast public website, but because it's a podcasting 2.0 tag, apps that support the donation button will also grab that from the RSS feed and show it in the app, making it as easy as possible for listeners to donate to your show. And I can't tell you how much of a joy it is when someone just donates money, 5, 10 bucks to me because they are currently enjoying the content. And because it's easy, they are able to do it quickly, right? There's no barrier with the donate and funding button. So I strongly recommend if you host with RSS.com, definitely enable that. You can put in your PayPal or Venmo link there if you want, or you can use a platform like GoFundMe or Buy Me a Coffee to just get that donation link up and running. Okay, the last goal is really a culmination of everything that we've talked about here so far. It's also perhaps the biggest goal, the least straightforward, right? Leveraging analytics. RSS.com provides great analytics for you to review. Getting on YouTube. There are a number of ways to get on YouTube, and RSS.com makes it super easy to put forth a video that's not just a static image. Transcripts are something that we provide for free. You can make money with the donation button. All of these things give your listeners more avenues to consume and engage with your show. And that's really the fifth goal. I've been hearing from a lot of people that downloads are no longer the metric for your podcast. Downloads can just be someone who has subscribed to your show once and have never listened, but an engaged audience, that's what you should really look for because those are the people who love your show the most. And perhaps the feature that we rolled out at rss.com last year that I'm the most excited for is the live item tag because it really combines all of these other goals for us to engage more with our audience. If you're unfamiliar, the live item tag allows you to live stream to a bunch of different platforms, including your podcast. So for podcast hosts that support the live item tag, like rss.com, you can take your live stream and automatically stream it to your podcast feed as well. And if there are apps that support the live item tag, like Fountain, people can watch or listen to your live stream directly in the app. This is so great because, again, if you are doing a regular YouTube live stream and you have to download the video or extract the audio and then upload that to your podcast host, you don't have to do that with the live item tag. And when you have a prominent button like the donate button, or even something like value for value, where you can allow people to send real-time messages and donations in Bitcoin to your show, like based on the number of minutes streamed, for example. This really gives you an opportunity to engage with your audience more and leverage this platform to make more money. But when you're live streaming, you also get to interact with them in real time. And so you can interact in real time and live stream and create podcast content without creating extra work. So those are your 5 goals for 2025 to set your podcast up for success. Leverage analytics to understand your audience. Get your show on YouTube so people can listen to it wherever they prefer. Add transcripts to give your show even more reach through accessibility and content repurposing. Make more money with the donation button and engage more with your audience through any means possible, including live streaming with the live item tag. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what goal you're most excited about. And if you have any questions about RSS.com, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks again so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you out there.